Okay, this is Idea Coaches with Cochise weighing on the weight classes, episode 5B, the review of Strikeforce Grand Prix Barnett versus Caratana. Please forgive the noise. There is construction going on in all 4 points of my house right now, so I can't escape it. Let's get into it. The first thing I want to get into is the prelims. Fei Zhao versus Joel Romero, and a 2000 Olympic silver medalist in wrestling. This pretty much, the downfall of Strikeforce is due to their terrible matchmaking. Really, this card should have went like this. It should have been the silver medalist versus HWGP, the Jiu-Jitsu world champion. I don't know why these two guys fought. In a very, very boring fight, Fei Zhao finally got the KO in the middle of the 3rd round. Knocked him out pretty clean. But it just dawned on me on all these gold medalists, medalists I should say, not really making the great transition to mixed martial arts. Let me just break down a couple of things for you. The biggest bust was fucking Satoshi Ishii, the 2008 gold medalist in judo. His first fight he lost, and even though his whole world record is 1-4, it's very unimpressive. It's a very, very unimpressive record. He's beaten has-beens. Okay, yeah, he beat Minowa Man, but Minowa Man has like 90 fights under his belt at this time, so beating him doesn't mean anything now. Then there was Hiroshi Izumi, who fought for Dream and Sengoku. Lost his first fight too. His last fight he lost to Gerard Musashi, which I think everyone expected him to lose. But now you have another medalist, a silver medalist in wrestling, and for some reason he just couldn't implement his game plan. I think the dedication and drive it takes to be a medalist in anything Olympics, anything to the Olympic level, actually, the time that you consume doing that takes away from the time that you can train for something else. I just don't think there's enough hours in the day to be a silver medalist, a gold medalist in wrestling or judo or what have you, and then make a transition to mixed martial arts where you have to implement, takedowns and striking and the defense and the footwork and the pacing. It's completely different. These guys have spent their whole lives doing their one thing, and they've done it almost to perfection. So making the transition to mixed martial arts is actually, I think, would be actually more difficult than a person on the street. Now, it's because it's easier to mold clay than mold cement. Okay, that fight came and went. Then we had the lightweight fight between Roger Gracie versus King Mo. And the thing is, I did not know how bad Roger Gracie's stand-up was. I mean, this is 2011, man. You're going nowhere with that fucking striking, dude. Please, get off that. Go back to doing, or at least take 2 years and work on nothing but striking. We all know your jiu-jitsu game's great, but I mean, he got knocked out, and King Mo, once again, did the Roy Jones Jr. shit where he's doing this. It works well with Roger Gracie, but I remember when Fei Zhao knocked your ass out doing that shit. So please stop it. And also, I don't mean to be so anti-King Mo, but that post-fight speech he gave about 9/11, he was like, yeah, shout out to those people that died on 9/11, because I'm out here fighting, doing what I want, and then they died, so shout out to them. We've had 10 years of commentary and practice to articulate ourselves a little bit better than that. Like I said, it's not that big of a deal, but I know the dude's educated, and the way he came across was real ignorant. Please, work on your post-fight interviews, man. Now we got to get to the fight I got wrong. No. Before we get to Bigfoot, we got to talk about the Jack Guerrero Rockhold fight. I did not preview that fight because I assumed that Jack Herrera was just going to sub the guy in 1 or 2 rounds. And to me, it seemed like he could have done it at any given point in the first 2 rounds, middle of the 3rd. But he didn't pull the trigger, and it cost him. I mean, this was the most lackadaisical, lackluster title change since Gerard Mousasi and fuck, damn it, King Mo. Yeah, it seemed like nothing happened, like a title change, and then nothing happened. And this really cements the fact that Strikeforce is going to end probably as soon as the Grand Prix final is done. They might keep Strikeforce challengers around because they need to have a place for lowercase talent to hone their skills and move up to the UFC. But as far as Showtime events are concerned, this is going to be it. I mean, once the Grand Prix is over, Strikeforce is done. That being said, let me go on to the fight I got wrong. I thought Bigfoot Silva was going to use his experience and beat Comer, who I kept calling Comer in my preview. So sorry about that. Comer, I say this, man, the dude hits hard. He hits hard, and he catches you, it's over. His striking defense leaves a lot to be desired. There's a lot of times he was walking backwards and doing this, going away from Bigfoot's punches. If he gets to fight someone who's a little more honed than Bigfoot, then I have to say that Comer get knocked out himself. Anyone who walks backwards doing this is going to get knocked out sooner rather than later. Yeah, I got that one wrong, but you know, whatever. Now we have to move on to the Caratana versus Barnett fight. Ended just like I thought it was. I thought Caratana was going to make it last at the 2nd round, but once Barnett gets on you, man, the dude's a big guy. I met him in real life. The motherfucker's huge. Got on him, controlled him for about 2 minutes, and tapped him immediately. Right now, everything's looking like Barnett versus Comer. I think Josh is smart enough to stay out of a striking game with them, but then you have to talk about the wrestling aspect. So Comer might actually have a very, very good chance on winning this Grand Prix, and thus destroying all the hype that the Grand Prix had in the beginning with this outsider coming in and all the marketable guys going away. He has a very, very good chance now versus Barnett because getting Comer to the ground, I think it'd be quite difficult. Staying in the pocket with them, I think the only way Barnett's going to win that fight is by really keeping the distance, circling away. 3 hits, run away. 3 hits, run away. 3 hits. If he stays in the pocket, gets caught in that game, it's over for him. Okay, let me get a couple things off my chest. One, there will not be a weighing on the weight classes for Jake Shields versus Ellenberger, mainly because a number of those fighters I don't know about. A lot of those guys come from the Ultimate Fighter, and that shit sucked ever since probably season 4. I mean, the quality of fighters has really been on the decline. And you know, people on forums say, "Oh, if you don't like the show, don't watch it." Yeah, I don't fucking watch it. So I'm not previewing a bunch of people I don't know nothing about. I will watch the event. I will watch it. And secondly, and on a sadder note, basically everything's around Jake Shields' father's passing away very recently. And that's, you know, I don't want to talk about that. That's going to completely change how he fights in coming up this Saturday. Also, there is actually on September 24th, there are 2 big events going on. Dreams Fight for Japan Part 3 and the UFC 135 Jones versus Rampage for the Light Heavyweight Championship. There are 19 fights in total, and only 6 I care about. From the Dream side, I do want to see Nakamura versus Gerard Harris. Then there's Hellboy versus Kawajiri 2, which makes a lot of sense right now. Kyle Uno versus Lion Takashi. Those fights I think will be really good. On the UFC side, you got, of course, you got the championship fight, John Jones versus Rampage. But I'm really looking forward to Ben Rothwell versus Mark Hunt and Gomi versus Nate Diaz. I do want to see Mizugaki in the UFC. He's going to go in the prelims. I'm happy about that. And on Dream, Kitaoka, the former Sengoku light lightweight champion, will be making his debut in Dream. He's been out of MMA for about a year now, so I'm really hyped to see him again. Overall, the Dream has better fighters on display for the 24th. However, all the good fighters are in a lot of squash matches, so it's pretty much you're just picking the name brand fighter for that one. But I will do a weighing in on the weight classes for that, for both 135 and Dream Fights for Japan. Once again, man, I'm very sorry about this construction. This shit is loud and it's annoying. But until then, guys, take care.